I know you are excited and you're ready to get into tonight's discussion. So, listen, without pause, let's get to it. So, guys, tell me what you think about this. I was thinking about the late rapper DMX the other day. And of course, on April 9th, 2021. But what I really wanted to discuss, and it had me shook, really was the fact that although DMX was, as I recall it, and perhaps you do as well, although he was a very gifted and talented rapper and actor, there were some things other than those things about his life that I think we should consider. Other than those things, the rapping and the acting, I think there were some things about his life that we should consider. And I am not afraid to say that, listen, I was a fan of DMX, and I hope that you were too. So this discussion is not one that I intend or some type of hit piece to speak ill of the dead, but I do want to look and discuss his life in this episode entitled The Complexities of the Rapper DMX and what Black men can learn from them. So listen, go ahead and tell Lottie Dottie and everybody that HeSpoke Fashion Live is on, and we will be right back. Stay tuned. Are you ready, AB? All right, let's get it. Hit it. Yeah, in the building.
HeSpoke Fashion. HeSpoke Fashion.
All right. Again, thank you for joining us, and I'm glad that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to have this conversation. So, as I said in my opening monologue, there are certain complexities concerning the life of rapper DMX that I believe will serve to assist Black men like you and me in navigating through this thing that we call life. Now, listen, I for one know that there are things that Black men face, whether they are a celebrity, athlete, college student, high school, teenager, or even a mailman, that are similar to the complexities in the life of DMX. And at the core, they impact our very existence. And that is why this show, and you know what, subsequently others that will follow, are imperative in helping us to not only overcome, watch this, overcome these battles, but to also thrive because of them. Now, as you may or may not be aware, DMX was raised by his mother simply because his father was often away serving lengthy stints in prison up until he passed while DMX was still yet a young child. And of course, this may, in my opinion, have contributed to him becoming what many may call a menace to society at such a young age. I'm going to qualify what I just said. The reason why they said a menace to society was simply because he was expelled from school at age 10. At 10, expelled from school. And he had to attend a boot camp or some sort of children's home for 18 months because of the expulsion. But now listen, get this. You will never guess who was the person behind sending him to this children's home. You're never going to guess it. Listen, if you would guess it, you're not even going to get it. I'm not even going to, I'm not a gambling man. I don't even place any wagers. But if I were, I still wouldn't gamble. But I don't think you would get it. But I'm going to show you just who it was that was behind sending him to this children's home.
His mom had took him to a children's home and said that they was just going to visit. And she left him there. She took him there and she left him there. And he was too little to be there, too little to understand how to defend himself. His mom had took him.
Wow. Wow. Did you guys see that? What effects do you think this had on DMX? Now, while you and me both may have experienced some tough things and tough times as children, many of us did not experience anything as bad as this. And I'm not going to delve too deep into the reason why this happened, because I have learned not to judge anyone's actions if you aren't walking in their shoes. But let's just say the effects of this on DMX lasted well into his adulthood.
Not once she ever told me that she loved me.
I later found out that he laced the blood.
Not once.
Wow. Now, I get it, parents. Because if you live long enough, you will understand that there is no handbook written that is good enough to raise your child. No, listen, I'm not saying that there aren't any books written instructing how to raise a child, but just not how to raise your child. Listen, any of you that may be listening that don't have any children, don't judge those, if I may caution you, to not judge those who do have children, or even your very own parents, because you don't know what you would do when attempting to do what's best for you and your children, especially when you have one that is on the wrong track and you also have those who you're trying to keep on the right track, all in the same household. There's no wonder that DMX, or better yet, let's use his government name here, Earl Simmons, did have some problems after that. You know what? He, of course, after all of that, I mean, feeling that betrayal of being left at that children's home, you know what? He, of course, ran away at age 14. And you know, here is where I would say things began to get even more tricky for Earl Simmons, later to be known as DMX. Why? Because of those who looked to take advantage of a young 14-year-old runaway. And you know, someone who would look to take advantage of them and to take them away from those who loved them, or in this case, loved him, or perhaps cared for him. There are people out there, unfortunately, that are looking for an opportunity to take advantage of a young man, a young woman. I know we often talk about the young women, but I don't think there's enough that is said about the young men. That's why I'm starting tonight. See, I believe the complexities of his youth have already begun to mold him in a way that life does for all of us. Now you see the potter. The potter is the one who knows what he's making when he's molding the clay. So I want you to imagine the potter's wheel, and he has his hands on the clay, and you're observing and you're wondering, what is this going to be? But the potter knows what he is molding out of that clay. He knows when to apply enough pressure to produce the right image, and he also knows when not to apply too much pressure as well. You see, pressure in and of itself is a complexity within itself. Pressure, for one, on one hand, it can produce a diamond. Yes, pressure can do that. But also on the other hand, it can produce a nervous breakdown. It can produce anxiety. It can produce depression. Now, I want you to understand that how you handle the pressure, listen to me close, brothers, fellas, listen to me close. How you handle the pressure makes all the difference in the world. At such a young age, DMX was unable, in my opinion, to properly process the direction that he wanted to go in, and may not have even understood that there was more than one way to handle the pressure. We can see from what we now know to be true, from his own words, the direction that he took.
I later found out that he laced the blunt with crack. I think. Why would he do that to a child?
Right.
And this nigga like 30, you know what I'm saying? And he knew how I looked up to him.
Yeah.
He knew how I looked up to him, you know what I'm saying? And why would you do that to somebody who looks up to you? Like, I mean, a monster was born. A monster was born. I later found out that he,
Wow. Again, another complexity that we need to address was depicted right in that clip. Did you notice it? Did you see it? To me, it is the complexity of what we call trust, and simply knowing who to trust is about as complex as they come. See, trust is defined, and as I quote, it says, trust is the firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. Relations have to be built on trust. And you know what? As an adult, many of us are still attempting to understand the complexity of trust, but at a young age, many of us were clueless. And in this case, DMX was trusting of someone who should not have been trusted. But as a child, you don't know that. How could he? And better yet, how could you? One of the things I am certain of is that a person you can trust, hear me close, guys, will never do anything purposely to hurt you. Therefore, you must ask yourself this question when giving a litmus test on who to trust, and that is this: does this person have my best interest at heart, or are the only things that matter those that serve their interests? Now, I know some of you are with the person right now that you need to ask this question. So just to ensure safety, just wink twice at me if you already know the answer. All right, listen. Fellas, have you ever been in a situation where you questioned why you trusted the lady you were with because she never really considered your best interest? Only those things that made her happy. Now, listen, before you get everything all confused and get discombobulated, I need you to understand that I do understand that in relationships, it is important and imperative to make the other person happy as you seek to serve the other person. But here, my friends, is the caveat. You both should be looking to serve each other and not just one-sided. Ladies, listen, how did you handle it when you asked that question? And then there was something in your spirit that didn't set right with you once you did. What did you do? Listen, put it in the chat because I will be checking the comments later and I want to hear from you because we're helping one another here. Ladies and gents, we're not against each other. We want to help each other. But again, at a young age, you hear me, you must protect yourself from becoming a victim. And I would say at any age, you can't become a participant in the Victim Olympics. But what can you do? And this is the question, to not become a victim. What could you do to not become a victim, to not be victimized? Well, when we look here at the complexities of the life of DMX, we see that it was more than likely he would become a victim because of his environment. Now, some would say that he could not escape the climate of his surroundings at such a young age. And that would almost be true, except for one thing. This one thing I want to offer in this moment. And that is, and I don't want to be anecdotal, but in this moment, I want to offer this, and that is community is the answer. That's right. Now, when I say community, I don't mean to confuse you because many would say the area where he grew up was his community. And this is where I would beg to differ because it is my belief that community is not where you grew up, not where you grew up alone, but it is outside of where you grew up, and it extends to your church, your school, and also the people in those entities. As a matter of fact, community is also defined as a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. The sense of community that organized religion can provide. Then did you see that? It is the sense of community. And then it says that organized religion can provide. Excuse me. So guys, listen, did you not know that the only way to be exposed to people that did not grow up with you, that did not grow up where you live or grow up with you or live where you live, the only way to get exposed to them is it comes from a by chance introduction, sometimes during worship in a church on Sunday. Do you also not know that there's a saying that goes that there are only 6 degrees of separation, which is the idea that people are 6 or fewer social connections away from each other. Did you get that, Grogu? It's only 6 degrees of separation between me knowing who your boo is. See, y'all didn't know that Grogu got a boo somewhere. You ain't trying to tell me. 6 degrees of separation. You could simply start with a classmate from school or a teacher or coach and connect to people that will be a part of your community. See, in DMX's case, the community failed him because his community was relegated to those who lived nearby. Now, let me ask you a question. Where is your community? Guys, listen, I really want you to think about it for a moment. Are the people in your community all doing the same things as you are? Do those who are part of your community inspire you to do anything other than what they're doing? Now, if that is you, please, please, listen, brothers and my beautiful butterflies, I implore you to learn from the complexities of the rapper DMX, and then began to build your own appointments. You have to be ready when it arrives. Let me read that again because I don't think you heard me. Opportunity doesn't make appointments. See, most of you like to plan your life based on an appointment. You only go because you have an appointment. But opportunities don't make appointments. An opportunity will present itself whether you're ready or not. And that's why you have to stay ready so you won't have to get ready, because if you have to get ready, your opportunity may pass you by. And one thing I've learned over time, and you know what I've also gained from researching this very topic, is that addition or subtraction, every opportunity adds or subtracts. And how you treat each opportunity will give you your answer. What is your answer going to be? Will it be that this opportunity provided an addition to your life, or because you mishandled the opportunity, will it subtract from your life? When researching this topic, I did not want to appear, and I did not want it to appear that I was simply championing everything that DMX did. Now, I do not know what type of father he was to his 17 children. And I will not pretend to know, nor do I know that type the type of husband or partner he was to the mothers of his children or to his wife. But what I do sincerely believe is that DMX, or Dark Man X, that's what those letters stand for. Dark Man X was a very complex man. And you know what? The following complexity proves it, at least in my opinion. The final complexity that I would like to shed some light on was simply the faith of DMX. Now, while you may disagree with me on this one, I do believe wholeheartedly that DMX was a man of faith. And you know what? Here is an example of what I'm talking about.
Aaliyah. We didn't know each other long or see each other much, but we became instant and sincere friends. I have trouble accepting the fact that you're gone, so I won't. It will be like we went without seeing each other for a while. I thank you for the movie opportunities and for the chance to work with you, because you truly were an angel on earth. See you soon. And in my own special way, I love you. Dearest Aaliyah.
Wow. You know what? That was beautiful. And I believe that Aaliyah and DMX were not only people who shared screen time, but they were genuine friends. And this prayer, in my opinion, confirms just that. It is also, my belief that what allowed DMX to press on past the depth of his good friend was his faith. AB, can we have a moment of silence for Aaliyah? Thank you. Now, let me see some heart emojis in the chat in memory of Aaliyah. You know, another life that was gone too soon. You know, we even heard of his faith not only through that prayer, and of course through the loss of Miss Aaliyah, again, gone too soon. But there was another prayer that I want to share, because I believe that there are those of you who may still question my assessment of his faith. You know, I'm telling you, I believe he was truly a man of faith.
Learning how to pray, bear with me. First, I thank you for the life of everyone that's here with me. Then I thank you for the love you give me. Why? I don't know. I don't deserve it. It hurts inside. Many a nights I cried and called your name out loud, but didn't call you when I was doing good, too proud. And still you gave me love. I wasn't used to that. Most of the people that gave me love ended up taking it back. That's something new to me. So I'm asking you for time to adjust. Let me make it there. I will be one you can trust. What I stand for, I put my life on. I do. I guess what I'm asking is, show me how to stand for you. I'm just learning how to pray. Bear with me.
Now, here again lies the complexity, because I believe he was a man of faith, but there was a complexity concerning faith, and one that I think we can learn from the complexity DMX faced And that was one of not only confessing your faith, but also living your faith. No. I'm not being judgmental. I'm not judging DMX's faith. I'm only challenging you to examine his faith so that you can then judge your own faith. See, there is more to faith than just the practice of it. That's what you do on Sunday. You go to church to practice your faith. But faith must be lived. Now, isn't it somewhere in the Bible where it says, AB, I know you're a Bible thumper. I mean, believer. AB is a Bible believer. But there's somewhere in the Bible it says that the just shall live by faith. I'm kidding. I know that it's in there. And unfortunately, there were so many times that our faith was challenged while we were following the life. And listen, I'm telling you, I am a fan, was a fan of the life of DMX. And we were confused, perplexed even while following the life of DMX. What we would see in concerts where he would lead a prayer, we would hear on his albums a prayer, and we would follow him, championing him, believing that he was truly someone who was complex. And the complexity of his faith is what we are dealing with. There were things like this that often stood out that for me could not be explained.
He's been jailed over 30 times for various offenses, including robbery, assault, carjacking, animal cruelty, reckless driving, driving under the influence, unlicensed driving, drug possession, probation violation, failure to pay child support, pretending to be a federal agent, and tax evasion. Whew. I know, that's a lot, and on paper, it looks awful. And I know this may sound crazy, but despite his criminal activity, he was actually a target of police harassment, and his punishments typically were disproportionate to his crimes. When analyzing his criminal history, none of his offenses were unforgivable. DMX may have been lost at times, but God forgives.
All right.
Take a seat, please. Okay, so you've got 4 separate probation violation matters before the court this evening. First is a probation for theft, which is a Class 3 felony. The second is probation for possession of narcotic drugs, a Class 4 felony, and animal cruelty, which is a misdemeanor offense. The next is a probation violation matter in regard to an attempted aggravated assault charge, Class 6 felony. And the last is a probation matter involving possession of marijuana, which is also a Class 6 felony.
See the bad treatment going on. Only one in here. Who's the only one who got arrested today? So do it every time, man. Every time, man. Every time they do it to me. They gotta be quiet about it. They get my rights violated, but I got
Found unresponsive in a motel parking lot. He was brought back to life by Narcan, an opioid reversal drug. Fortunate to have recovered, it was clearly a sign for the worse.
Breaking news, rapper DMX has died. The 50-year-old, whose real name is Earl Simmons, was rushed to the hospital Friday night after suffering a heart attack. DMX released his debut album in 1998 and has been nominated for a Grammy 3 times. He struggled with substance abuse over the years. His lawyer cannot confirm reports that the heart attack was the cause of a drug overdose.
With Lil Wayne, Moneybagg Yo, Nas, Jay-Z, Alicia Keys, Usher, Snoop Dogg, and even Bono. DMX had a significant impact on him. DMX had been jailed over 30 times for very...
Wow. You know, quite saddening even watching it in this moment. You know, one might imagine that a person with the gifts and talents as a DMX would be able to maneuver through all these things. But alas, it was the navigating through the first complexity that challenged him the most and inevitably led to his demise. And what is so ironic, is that one of the best acting roles that DMX played, now all the other ones were great, but this one was one in which he stepped out of his natural characteristics or character to play this particular role. And the role was in the movie entitled Never Die Alone.
People can expect to see what they've never seen out of me in a character. It's not what I've been doing, thus far. Interesting. Something I think I carried. It's a role I think I carried better than, the last two roles. I can relate to more. I read the books.
Today is the day I stop running from my past.
So people can expect to see.
Wow. Ironically enough, again, in this movie, I don't know if you guys were able to catch that, but he spoke the lines, "Today is the day that I stop running from my past." And you know what? Unfortunately, it is my belief that because of the complexities of his life, he could never stop running from his past, nor could he escape it. Brothers, it is my hope that through our discussion, you have learned enough, you have heard enough about the complexities of the life of DMX, that you now can work your way through the complexities of your own life. That is my hope. Listen, I've enjoyed you all on tonight, and I hope that you enjoyed the show. Those some things I hope that you really have enjoyed. Well, that's all I have for you tonight. I want you to have a good night, good fashion, and remember, he spoke fashion to you. See you next time. Hope you will join us. All right? Yeah! In the building! Leave your questions and comments, and remember, this is HeSpoke Fashion, and I really appreciate you all for watching. Please take time to follow us on Facebook, and if you really like this episode, what you think, leave your questions and comments, and remember, this is HeSpoke Fashion, and I really